Hello and welcome to the Cherish Ball Champions Draft Round 1 analysis. I am the commissioner of the Cherish Ball division. My name is Spades. My co-host for this special Draft 1 stream and video is none other than the very handsome Solinar, aka Chad. How are you doing, good sir?
Well, I'm balling, man. You know me. I'm balling, and I'm happy to be here back making content for everyone, even if this ain't my channel. Um, but yeah, I'm glad to be doing this. I'm glad we got the first round knocked out before the draft even like officially started, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's first round picks. It's
Yeah,
very, very
we got a
pivotal part.
special PowerPoint presentation that will hopefully blow you all away. Not really, probably blow you away, but it was a lot to put this together. So I hope you all enjoy it. So what the Cherish Ball is, for those who are watching and don't know, is a division that the SCDA is running with. It's an invitational division. How you get invited is by winning one of the leagues part of the SCDA, whether that is the SCDA or a merger server. So, like
Hmm.
myself, I'm not good enough to win in the SCDA, but I won one in the merger server. So, I
No,
qualified. And then my co host here just wins things. So, it was not that hard for him to make it either.
hey, you flatter me.
I try. All right, so we have the round one stream. Let's just go ahead and get started. Look at this beauty. I'm so
I
proud of
know
this.
it looks so good. Your work is appreciated because it looks fantastic.
I'm glad. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the first round of the draft for the Series 9 Champions Division of the SCDA. And we
Yes, sir.
begin with, go ahead, Luke F. and the Chunky Monkeys. He had the first overall pick and was the Season 7 Ultra Ball champion. So he won pretty recently. Oh, you can see my cursor. Let's pretend like you can't. Okay. And his first pick was Reggie Alecki. Sir Solinar, what do you think of the Reggie Alecki first pick?
To be fair, it's kind of a weird first, it's a weird, round one, pick one for sure. Like, Reggie Alecki in recent formats has really proven itself to be a fantastic, versatile option, capable of maxing physical, maxing special,
Mm-hmm.
supporting, setting up screens. It has a whole bunch of annoying electric type moves, and realistically, it's a very, good, versatile mon. It's capable of a lot of stuff. So while it is a little bit interesting as like round one, pick one, I can definitely see why Luke would be
Mm-hmm.
interested in making it his first pick.
Yeah, and let's go a little deeper. We have kind of what Reggie Lecky is. So I didn't include it, but I should have. It's a base electric type, and the first note there, speed 200. That's that is fast. And what I noticed, like in
Fucking
draft,
fast, yeah.
is most of the time you run zero speed on this thing and make it bulky, which is really good whenever you know what you need to outspeed. So
Hmm.
that's always great. And then you mentioned about the physical or special, both coming from transistor electric attacks, which just make it gigantic damage, and then speed and damage control really make it that versatile piece that I think in a 24 player draft, this is a solid first mon. It can fit into almost any core you need it to as just a standalone. This is my speed control. This is a max option, and if I need to screech or eerie impulse or set a light screen or reflect, this mon can do that for me too. So, uh,
Yeah, I think there's some fantastic item versatility that a
mm-hmm,
Lucky can carry as well. Like I've actually used a Lucky in quite a few and by quite a few I mean a couple of Series 9 draft formats where there's item versatility there. You have Life Orb, you have Magnet, you have Focus Sash. I've even ran Air Balloon on it
mm-hmm,
before. It's just like it's very good, and I mean it has speed control with max and speed control with no max because it does get physical max airstream and physical or special max strike depending on which one you're looking at. Um, but yeah, I think that it's got some really good moves, and just it being as fast as it is, it's really valuable as a max option. Max darkness is no joke.
yeah, and I know Luke as a player is going to take advantage of the plethora of options Reggie Lecky offers. So, I think it's a very solid first pick.
Yeah, I think everything here is, shaping up for pretty versatile first pick. I think you can go a lot of ways to help Alecki out. There's a couple of things that Alecki really doesn't like from my experience. And Pro Horse mentions Lightning Rod. That is definitely true. Lightning Rod is not a fantastic thing for Alecki. And the other one is just ground types in general. Alecki is typically not very good at dealing with those. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it definitely has some things that you have to work around, but if you can get the correct support for it, man,
Mm-hmm.
it's good. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, so very solid first round pick. We will move
Agree.
it on. Would you like to introduce our second coach, our second overall pick?
Yeah. So the second pick, um, it was Yo Mama on Toast, the coach of the Birmingham Beadrills. They won the Series 5 Great Ball or Season 5 Great Ball. So in the SCDA,
Mm-hmm.
obviously post merger, but yeah, they got the second overall pick and have one of the coolest logos out of the whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch of us. So, um, yeah, I really liked their pick. I
Yeah.
really really liked their pick. Um, Rillaboom in this format is just so good at what it does, and it's
Mm-hmm.
arguably the best at what it does.
Yeah,
It
you're
is.
gonna see a common theme throughout these for certain picks that I mention two words a lot, and those two words are bulky water. And
Mhm.
Alecki previously does this too, but Rillaboom is very good at crushing those bulky water types that I think
Yeah, it
terrorize draft.
it just exterminates them. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it has the strongest max grass move, has, access to very good grass offensive moves, and it's got some versatility in there too. It's a good mon. Rillaboom is one of those Pokemon that realistically you could run a different item on Rillaboom every single week.
Mm-hmm.
You could run it every single week. Like it's very I've seen Rillaboom used in a lot of different ways with all of the leagues, with like previous leagues that I've been in. And I've used Rillaboom in non-max. It's not quite the same because it's actually very good in max format. But yeah, he really does a good job. Like you say, he's a good max option. Like
Yeah.
he's got access to some of the best max moves in the game because for some reason they gave him acrobatics, which gives him airstream. So you got.
Yeah, as well as high horsepower into max ground. Like Max Quake, Rillaboom is a threat, and a lot of people tunnel vision on the grassy terrain, grassy glide combo, and the fake out. But he's a 125 base attack,
Mhm.
physical like attacker that just does gigantic damage with the terrain with a boosted G Max move because it's 160 base power.
Longest max grass in the game.
Yeah, that's just crushing. And again, it lends yourself to a lot of like team building decisions with like you have terrain now. So you can take advantage of
Hmm.
that with like maybe more grassy glide users.
True.
It's just it's such a good build around pick for Series 9 and I think he made a great decision. Like can't go
Yeah,
wrong with the monkey.
I'm inclined to agree with that. Just like super good, and like it's got some like fun sets as well. Like I've seen Grassy Seed Rillaboom next to Amon spamming Max Steel Spike, and not a whole lot of people know it has like body press. So with the +1 from the Grassy Seed and Max Steel Spike boosts, it actually becomes kind of a dangerous body presser as well. So just like very interesting seeds that are like sets that you can run on Rillaboom, and it often just doesn't get explored like a lot just because it is very good at just clicking Grassy Glide into super effective mons, but just
Yeah.
lots of coverage. It's real good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Very,
yeah,
very
I'm a
good
big
build around Mon. So yeah, that was Toast's second. He was the second overall pick. We'll move into the third overall pick, which was the bulky Ferrothorns and Hasugal. So he
mm,
won season 2 Rillaboom in APDL, which is a merger server, and then he came back and won an auction draft here. So he's got 2 titles to his name. Pretty convincing to say that he belongs here. And with a third overall pick, he selected Togekiss.
yeah.
Togekiss being one of those mons that has kind of two ends of the spectrum. It's either really, really supportive or really, really offensive. And what's great about that is you can really pick and choose, and you can even have splashes of both. Like, I think Togekiss can be one of those mons that's really difficult to build in draft because there's so many things as far as like you want to live it to make it live certain attacks. You want to make sure that you kill things with like your max moves. And if we look at the notes, yeah, Follow Me plus some good support with like Helping Hand, Yawn, Thunder Wave it gets 2. You got your strong crit build with your Scope Lens and your Super Luck, and just solid coverage overall. What do you make of Togekiss in Series 9?
I mean, fucking look at this thing's stats, dude. Like, you fucking look at thing's stats, and it has some of the best stat spread I've ever seen. Good defense. Like, this is we're talking like if average HP is 80 and average defenses in terms of bulk are 90. It's got above average HP. It's got above average defense, above average special defense, above average special attack. The speed is a little bit to be desired, but with those strong, like you were saying, the strong crit sets, or even just like any set, like it's a good policy mon, it's a good life orb mon. It is have the crit potential too. Like there is, and most of the time you'll just be clicking max airstream with it. So I mean that kind of helps it make up for its base 80 speed after that first airstream, and you're typically fine. It just is like so well balanced in its stats, and it does a really good job of taking advantage of everything it can do. I really, really get annoyed playing against Togekiss, which means it's a really good mon to use.
Yeah, it's again one of those mons, like, if we saw a common theme is the first couple of mons fit on so many different, like, team designs. Like,
Right.
Togekiss can be on a Trick Room team. It can be on a more hyper offense team. It can be on a more balanced team. It's got all those characteristics to it. And while being one of the best offensive types in the game. Like, Fairy Flying is...
And like basically
unreal.
the only thing that can resist that is like fire or rock. Or not rock, I'm stupid. Is
Steel.
steel. But Togekiss gets fire coverage to help
Yes, it
deal
gets
with those stupid.
Flamethrower and Heat Wave, I think. Just
Yeah,
crazy.
it's good. It's a good mon. And yeah, I think that with Togekiss, the problem I think I have with it is while it's versatile, once you like find out the kind of set that it's running, because like on preview in the very first game, you don't know what kind of Togekiss it's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be full support, if it's going to be full offense, if it's going to try to do a little bit of both. But realistically, like it really can only do one thing exceedingly well. And so finding out like what kind of Togekiss the set is, like once you figure it out, it makes Togekiss a little bit less threatening. But I mean at the same time it just like does everything super well. But I wouldn't say it's quite as versatile as the first two picks. I think that Aleki and Rillaboom just are like incredibly
Yeah.
like just the best at what they do. Togekiss is arguably one of the best at what it does, but it could definitely be like up there in contention.
Yeah, I'm
Personal,
excited to see what Hasugal does with this.
I completely agree. It's a good mon for sure.
All right. Who is up
So
next?
next up with the fourth pick, we have Junebug. Junebug also has 2 chips to their name, winning season 2 of the ADL, and then coming back winning season 7 of Luxury. So has wins both in SCDA as well as merger server. So long reign of success there from Junebug. And with the fourth pick in the draft, they ended up taking one of my draft favorites, Dragapult. Why don't you get us started about what Dragapult is capable of doing?
I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. Dragapult is the Swiss Army knife of draft. You got your physical stuff, you got your special stuff, you got your support stuff. Like, I condensed as much as I could into the notes, but I can still add so much more to the notes for Dragapult. It's so fast. It's so strong in both the physical and special side. It's got great move options. It's got good support options, and it has one of the best abilities in the game of clear body. How do you not like look at this and just like have your jaw like just fall on the floor? Like it's got so many things going for it.
Yeah, I definitely see it. I think one of the bigger things here to note is that Dragapult is an incredibly good mon at setting up other mons. It has beat up for justified mons. It has surf for colossal mons.
Yeah,
it,
just
it, it has the coverage to proc a lot of different policies. I mean, um, it's got fast U-turn and it's a ghost type, so I mean it's immune to fake out, which is really good. It has a whole bunch of very good Dynamax coverage on both physical
mhm.
and special end of the spectrum. And the bulk is a little bit deceiving. I mean, 88 HP is nothing to scoff at, and while the 75s are a little bit to leave like be desired, that's easy to support right there. Like these bulk stats are definitely like they're workable for
Well,
sure.
it supports itself. Will-O-Wisp and Light Screen do that job very well.
I mean, Max Wormwind is also big for that too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it can lower those physical attacks and yeah, just like having
Can
a
set up with Dragon Dance. It's even got
yeah,
Sucker Punch for priority. Like, what does this thing not have?
a good physical ghost type move besides Max Phantasm, but
Phantom Force is at least a little lackluster, but at least it goes through Protect.
yeah, that's extremely helpful.
And
Yeah, the mon is just fast. Like it's fast and with speed comes versatility, just like
mhm.
naturally with speed comes versatility. And I think that Junebug could operate Dragapult in 100 different ways.
And he
Um,
has by winning ADL with Dragapult. So it's not like this is
yeah,
a new Mon for him. He's used this thing quite well.
yeah, it's a comfort pick, and I mean, coaches with things that they're comfortable with mons they're comfortable with, are incredibly dangerous. So yeah, there's some definitely some good potential here. Polk can be surprisingly bulky. I definitely agree with that. Dicey, I think with the right support, it can definitely, like you said, it can make itself bulky. It can also use the support of others to make it like unkillable. Like, you give this thing some screen support, give it a snarl maybe and intimidate, and it's just as bulky as any other max option. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So many
extremely
things to
good,
do with it. Yeah, it's
extremely good pick.
mm-hmm. All right, let's move it on to the number fifth. The number fifth. The fifth overall pick is done by the Midnight Ages and Prince. Prince won a singles league, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit of do. But he has played in enough doubles leagues and actually has, I think, one doubles victory. So at least he's not a total scrub at doubles, but we shame him for
Yeah,
the singles win. Let's talk
very
about this
true.
Mon, and I absolutely hate this Mon. This is if you want to beat me in draft, pick this Mon. I have the lowest win rate against my Milotic, and I absolutely hate it. This Mon does like the one role which I mentioned earlier so dang well, and I'll let my partner take care of this one because I want this to get off the screen.
Yeah, I'll be quick with it. So Milotic is personally my favorite of the bulky water types. I think it's fantastic. Supreme, like good HP, real good special defense, pretty okay defense, it's workable. But having competitive is a big deal because Intimidate's a pretty big thing in this format. It's a pretty big deal. So um, Milotic just completely shuts that down because it can beat pretty much every Intimidate mon. Um, and yeah, it's got good support. You say it has Recover. It also has like Life Dew and
Mm-hmm.
Icy Wind and
Yeah,
Scald. So I
that's
mean,
the solid
it,
support part of it,
it,
and then
it
the
gets.
coil hypnosis, which we all know and are scarred by now.
Oh yes, Coil Hypnosis is a very valid set. I think that if you let a Milotic get a couple coils set up on you, then you deserve to
It's
get
game over.
Hypnosis. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
it's like
it's
it
it's
can
weird. You go after the defensive side of it, and then it coils. You go for the
Yeah.
special defense side, and it has 125 of that.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
so
bulky.
powerful.
It's arguably one of the best of the bulky waters, and it being the first picked bulky water is actually of no surprise to me, really. It's got a decent speed tier. You know, you get an electro web or an icy wind or um, anything that could help Milotic speed control. It's fast enough, and bulky, like you said, bulky water has recover, means that it could theoretically play like a stall type role as well. So I've seen Milotic used a lot. I've used Milotic before. Like I said, it's my favorite of the bulky waters, and I think it was a fantastic pick by Prince. I think that that's real good.
Yeah,
Weakness policy, Max Milo, agree.
that's something he can definitely, and he probably will do at some point. So, all right, let's get this monstrosity off the screen. Who is this coach?
That's all you, big guy.
God damn it!
I did the last one,
Oh, you?
or maybe
No, I
no, I
thought I
didn't.
did Prince.
Did.
All right.
So this coach is Spades' brother, and he won a season in uh merger server. Very cool. Um, that's it. Beat Spades, by the way. He beat Spades in order to get that win. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yes, my brother has selected a mon that him and I have had lots of success with in max formats. And he basically told me once he found he was ahead of me in the order, he said to take this mon off my draft plan. It is Cinderace. Cinderace is, in our opinion, one of the best Pokemon in Series 9, and for good reason. You have the Libero ability, which is basically like what Greninja was, but only this thing is better than Greninja.
Very
Is the
true.
better way to put that. Really fast, really strong. The solid coverage it has Airstream. It's got a really strong fire attack. It's got Max Steel, Max Dark, Sucker Punch, U-Turn. It's got so much good coverage. Can even run a special set, but that's very rare. And I put Sneaky Support there because I have seen, and my brother has used, support Cinderace before to great success. And that's all I will say about that regard. What are your thoughts on Cinderace in Series 9, and I guess this being the 6th overall pick?
It's corny, dude. You were talking about a sneaky support. I'll only give away one because I don't want anyone to get duped by it. But don't get duped by Ally Switch Cinderace. That shit is corny as fuck. Don't be that guy that gets fucked up by that. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't be that person who gets fucked up by Ally Switch Cinderace. Other than that, yeah, I have nothing really to add. You put it perfectly. I think that it has some really good coverage. Gets a lot of stuff. Max, Steel is a really good move. Max Airstream, getting stab on that is good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually really like I really like the special coverage that it gets. I don't like its 65 special attack. I don't think that's very good, but the only way you're going to get ground coverage or electric coverage off of Cinderace is by using Electro Ball or Scorching Sands off of it. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to hold that. But yeah, Cinderace gets some really good non-max moves as well. Like if you have a different Maxmon you want to use, then Cinderace gets it gets coaching, which
Yeah,
is really nice, and
that's
it
part of the
also
Siddiqui support.
it also gets Super Fang. I really like Super Fang Cinderace as well, where you can just cut something's HP in half and
Mm-hmm.
then finish it off with something else. I mean, I think that Cinderace has some really good partners, both out like when Cinderace is Dynamaxed and when Cinderace isn't maxed. So I'm really excited to see, what kind of corny Cinderace sets we're gonna get. The thing about it is it typically has like pretty limited item move pool that you're gonna run with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see like a lot of White Herb, maybe Assault Vest, and Life Orb most of the time, but
I would only
and
add
like
goggles to that
yeah,
list.
or maybe like a Focus Sash for those
Yeah.
support sets. But yeah, I think that it's still a good mon, and I'm it'll be interesting to see what kind of support goes with it because we've had the best competitive user has been taken, and the best competitive user in the form of Milotic. So he's going to have to find some ways to get Intimidate to not be a problem for
Yeah.
Cinderace because that's like a pretty big deal for it. But other than that, yeah, it's a solid mon and it's a super good max option.
Yeah, we'll see what he does with it. Again, he's used this before, so he knows the ropes. So we'll see how he
Yeah,
does with that
definitely.
one. Moving on, we have the Toronto Staraptors and the beautiful Staraptor logo that Julian has drawn. Yeah, so this is Nightfront. He recently won Safari Ball, and he had the 7th overall pick. And I think this was the biggest shock of like the first round. Like Milotic, you could say was a pretty shocking to go that early, but I was at least surprised to see Porygon 2 went number 7 overall, which
Yeah.
it's a little weird I think to see. But like looking into the Mon more, you can definitely make a case for it being pick 7 worthy. So why don't you give your thoughts on what this little rubber ducky is capable of?
I mean, first of all, I think Porygon 2 is adorable, so I love it. I think it's a great pick, just in terms of aesthetics. But otherwise, I think that, out of Porygon, you get one of the best Trick Room setters. Pretty consistent at its job with the Eviolite. He's really unkillable, and he's got like a pretty decent special attack as well. Like, especially if you can get a good like download boost off of it, you're looking at a pretty solid, just like natural special attack stat. Super good bulk to go to like pair with it. Um, yeah, I think it gets good coverage, it gets good support, and it's a good trick room setter. I can't say that it's my favorite pick of the draft, even though you was still top 10 and it got picked in top 10. But I really like that it's bulky and it can use recover to keep itself healthy. So
Mm-hmm.
it really likes being paired with trick room abusers who are able to click max steel spike or max quack with it because
Mm-hmm.
it just makes it real fucking bulky.
Yeah, the only thing that like I have against Porygon is it's really easy to fake out and taunt.
Yeah,
So, like your item flexibility is a little low on this type of Pokemon. It's usually always going to be Eviolite. Although if you're going for the max option, you could always sneak in a Life Orb or even Weakness Policy if you're really spicy. But yeah, this is a really
yeah,
good like kind of push towards wanting to play a Trick Room based game, but he doesn't have to do that. Like he can go like just have a Trick Room mode on like a pretty solid balance team. So
agree.
it was just
Make it
interesting to see it
unkillable and max it.
go number
Yeah.
7 overall. That shocked a lot of people.
Definitely. It's got like pretty okay special coverage. Its physical coverage leaves a little to be desired. But the special coverage is pretty solid. You have Hyper Beam is typically the one you see on Dynamax sets, or sometimes you see Giga Impact for physical, but you have Electric, Ice, Psychic. It's got some decent moves. So I think that Porygon 2 does provide a little bit of versatility, but I would say its best role is, being a good TR setter. My one gripe with it as a TR setter is that if you're looking to have like a Dynamax weakness policy mon, Porygon 2 doesn't really do a good job of procking weakness policies under Trick Room, but it does so much more
Mm-hmm.
than that. It's just so fucking annoying, and I think it's certainly an interesting pick, but there is
Oh
definitely a
shit.
team to be built around it. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see which direction he takes this. If he goes towards hard Trick Room or he goes to be kind of in the middle, or even ignores that and just says, "No, I'm going fast." We'll
yep,
see. He
we will
can.
see.
We'll see what Porygon does. It's really nice in that regard. All right,
Mhm.
moving on to. I'll let you introduce this one. You're.
Speaking of Porygon, we have the Pogging Porygons coached by OC Frey. Now, OC Frey won a season of RPDL. I believe it was the last season of RPDL before the
Mm-hmm.
merger. But yeah, he won himself that season. He's come close a couple of times afterwards. So pretty dangerous coach. He's not afraid to play a little corny in order to beat you, and that's definitely a valid trait to have in a format like this where getting the win is the most important part. So
Yeah, and having one of the
um,
best logos of the division.
I have to disagree, but that's fine. um,
And
but yeah, so in his first pick. It made it to number 8. Don't ask me how this thing in Series 9 made it to number 8. But with his first pick, he ended up going with what I think is the best Pokemon in this format, Celesteela.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement. And we'll
It's
discuss that why, because all of these notes, and then you look at that stat spread, holy shit.
it's insane.
Yeah, so physical and special attacker, they literally only differ by 6 base stats. So that's not much at all. Different coverage for both of those moves. And Beast Boost to keep that going. And then,
Mm-hmm.
so the bulky variant I find the most fascinating because you can actually build a more defensive one and still max go for steel spikes. And then you just leech seed stub and just go from there. Like, Celesteela is a very dangerous Pokemon in Series 9. It's got a lot it can do offensively. It can basically slow and grind out games. It's got the stats and bulk to justify really any move set or EV spread, and has just a plethora of options. Trick Room, out of Trick Room, one of the best typings in Steel Flying. Being immune to ground is so nice. And then having Stab, the best 2 max moves, Max Airstream and Max Steel Spike, just
Killer.
I
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. It's won me
Celesteela.
it's won me a championship for a reason. I expect OC Frey to use it kind of similarly.
Yeah, I think Celesteela, I don't think it's overhyped. I think it's an incredibly I think it is the Maxmon of this format. It is like if not the best Maxmon, it is top 3. But I mean it has perfect coverage. You can't ask for anything more than what it has. Max Airstream, Max Steel, Max Airstream and Max Steel on both ends. You have Max Quack on physical, Max Flare on special to beat other steels. You have Max Grass to beat bulky waters. I mean, it gets a lot. It gets a lot. And like you were saying, it's good under TR. It is good under TR. Like it's slow enough to be a TR mon, and it's good outside of TR. And you give it Tailwind or an Electroweb, and it's surprisingly fast once you get an Airstream boost on it. I think that yeah, this is like a mon that you can't get hit. Like you can't hit this thing for super effective while it's Dynamax unless you find out it doesn't have a policy. How are you supposed to kill something if you aren't hitting it with super effective while it's Dynamax? Like,
Very carefully.
yeah, like you have to really set up for that, or just try to fucking weather the storm of its Dynamax. And weathering the storm of its max is not an easy thing to do.
No, because it's just gonna get faster and then kill you out of max. So
Right.
yeah, Celesteela is one of my personal favorite mons, and I'm sad it didn't fall to me, but it's in good hands. I trust OC Frey to use this mon well.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if he just had a policy on it and then decided, oh, am I going to be physical this week or am I going to be special? He's like, oh, I'm going to be physical, then policy physical, and off to the lab. Like,
Or
I wouldn't be
both.
surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was kind of what happened because it's the type of mon that you can do that with.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's also a nightmare
yeah,
to EV, so good luck to you.
it's a nightmare to EV, but that's just because like once you find that perfect spread, it does exactly everything you want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good in that regard. Yeah, very very powerful Pokemon.
Yeah, alrighty.
Really really makes me mad it fell all the way to number 8.
It
What are
was
you all doing?
it almost got to me. Almost.
Almost.
All right, let's move it on. So we have the Spine Chilling Gengar by Gengar Heracross coming back. He took a break last season, but he's back now. He won the first season of Premier Ball, which is shocking because he's more of a singles player, and he came in and won a doubles division, which is quite impressive, to say so
Yeah,
myself. I can't win
definitely.
a singles game to save my life, and he can play singles really well and then come in and win our doubles leagues, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
He has a huge problem though when it comes to competing. It's that he always seems to get crit by me in game 3. So,
Unlucky. All
pretty
right. Well,
unlucky.
let's see how he mops that crit up by taking the most controversial. And when I say controversial, I mean not so much the pick, more so of where this mon was tiered. So he picked Comfey, and we had as a server or a division several discussions on where this mon should be. It is
Hmm.
the winningest Pokemon in SCDA. It's by
Believe
one,
it.
but it's in first place by itself as number of wins in divisions.
Do you know how many that is by
6.
chance? 6?
Yes, everything else has 5 that's like noted, like Grimmsnarl, Celesteela. Those all have 5. Comfey has 6. So it's one step better. And so that's what the discussion was this should be A tier or this should be B tier. And what we determined was it would be a B tier because it needs an A tier to kind of make it good. Like, because it supports an A tier, it's not the A tier. So that's just kind of where we got there. And if we take a look into that first word there in the notes, triage. There were a lot of mons in almost any ability that I put triage on, and they were busted.
Yeah, very
And
true.
whenever a mon actually has that, it is just as busted.
No, this thing is insane. It's got, really good healing moves. It has a signature one in the form of floral healing. Um, so yeah, floral healing is, it's broken. If he somehow is able to get grassy terrain, it makes it even better. But you've got multiple, like this is the mon to proc weakness policies with.
Mm.
Because I mean, you only get 2 forms of coverage with it. You get um, priority fairy and priority grass, but you can proc a pretty fair amount of policies with uh, those two those two moves. It is this mon I think has so much that it can do, from the triage bullshit to helping hand to setting up trick room to ally switch to even stuff like safeguard and aromatherapy to get rid of those.
Burn,
Sorry,
sleeps,
those, yeah,
paralyze.
those status
Yeah.
conditions. Um, but it also is just good at being a fairy type as well. Like it, I mean, 82 isn't too crazy, but you have 82 special attack. But I mean, you have like dazzling gleam and even draining kiss. Like those are good moves to click fairy stab with, and it can deal some pretty underrated damage to opponents. So
Urshifu's
I'd even
worst
get.
nightmare.
Yeah, Urshifu. Urshifu hates this thing.
Hates it so much. And
But yeah, it's got good natural speed as well for some reason as well. Like this mon is just as fast as
yeah,
like
and that leads to
Zapdos.
the part two of like triage is the same priority as fake out. And if you're faster than most of the fake out mons, you get to do your game plan before they fake you out, which is
Yeah.
cracked beyond belief.
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. Like you never have to click protect with this thing if you don't want to. There are very few mons that can like hit you with fake out.
Mm. And yeah, this is one of them. So, all
Yeah,
right,
so
let's move along, shall we?
yeah, so good in draft. I agree with you, Dicey. Real shit. Oh, so this guy somehow got himself a top 10 pick in the draft,
You spun the
and
wheel. That's your fault.
none other than our host here, Spades, um, with the Metro Metagross. He won the our first and only season of RPDL Jewel before the merger, and yeah, won it with Monotype. So I guess he wants like a pat on the back for winning with Monotype or something. I'm just kidding. He deserves to be here just as much as any other coach, and we appreciate him for starting this. But for the first time ever, Spades gets to use his mascot for his team. His first round pick of Metagross.
It's been a long time coming. I used it in a league that I only played 3 weeks in, and then I departed from. It was a no max league, so I never actually used Metagross in a max league. and boy, am I excited to do that. Uh, the third note there is where I'm looking for. It's a strong weakness policy abuser, and Bulldoze Metagross is bread and butter. It's so known and so powerful, and that alone is enough to bait people.
True. It's good. It's no this mon is seriously no joke. It's got okay stat spread, base 135 attack, it's all right. Base 130 defense, like it's okay. But really the base 70 speed is the big one because it's fast enough to be a Tailwind Mon if you had it next to Tailwind or Bulldoze, but it's slow enough to be a Trick Room Mon as well. So I mean, it's just so good with all of its versatility in that regard. And yeah, I was just fucking around. It's got really good attack. It's got really good, just bulk in general. Super good moves as well. Like you said in that second point, great coverage. This thing has fantastic moves.
Max
Um,
Steel Spike, Max Quake, Max Hailstorm, Max Electric. Uh, God, why am I blanking on those?
I mean, Max Psychic isn't the best,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
I made
still
sure to leave
okay.
that out.
But yeah, I mean, between the elemental punches it gets, Max Steel Spike and Max Quack, it's pretty good. Honestly, like it has priority too, which is like the crazy thing in the form of Bullet Punch. So like it gets a lot. It's a dangerous Pokemon, and
Mhm.
there are lots of different ways you can really build around it by getting good Bulldoze, getting good Trick
Yeah,
Room,
and
getting a
another
Tailwind.
piece of that is, and when I picked it, I was like, it's not going to be hard to grab something that has Bulldoze. There are so many
Yeah,
Mons that have Bulldoze that are reasonably fast, so picking one of those seemed like it was going to be a piece of cake. So I
yeah.
had my targets for them, and then, uh, but still, like, this Mon is really incredible. It's been the MVPs of so many max leagues for good reason.
Hmm.
I want to shout out Mick for getting 43 kills in a season with this thing. It made me so happy to see this Mon just crush everybody,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to use it for the first time in Max in my hands. I will make it shiny. It's one of the few Mons that I will use shiny.
Rightfully so. It's got a good shiny, and it's just a fantastic mon. I think that Metagross definitely should have been picked a little bit higher in the draft. So it's like I bet you popped off when you saw it made it all the way down to you.
Well, no, whenever I was watching, it was like, steal, 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 steal. And then I was like, oh. But then I was like, well, my backup is Metagross.
Yep, and it's just as dangerous. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a fantastic mon. But
let's move it
yeah, moving
along.
moving right along, we have my
That's
one of
my
my
turn.
pers. I'm gonna do this one because
Okay.
this one's important to me. Um, and then you can have the next two.
Shut up. I
Uh,
got shut up.
so so with the 11th pick is one of my personal rivals in the SCDA, head coach of Dale. Dale for I mean singles player alert. He won singles, so easy target right here. This guy, but no, he's a real legit player, and he definitely pushed me in the limit and to my limits in the formats that we've competed together against. So I'm really looking forward to being able to compete against him in such a tough environment. And with his first pick, it's not quite type 10, but um, with his first pick, he decided to start setting the trends of bulky waters after, of course, Milotic got picked. But yeah, the first one being Tapu Fini. So I have interesting thoughts about Finney and this format in particular, but why don't you go ahead and get us started first,
So
Spades?
first of all, this is like he knows this is one of my favorite mods, so he picked it second to taunt me. So I very much already have bias towards that. Second of all, Tapu Fini is classified under that bulky water category, and look at that defense and that special defense. 115 and 130 respectively. 70 HP is mid, but it's got so much potential with that bulk to go. Oh, I can go Calm Mind. I can go Screen Support. I can just be Life Orb and kill you. I can be Weakness Policy and kill you. And I'm bulky enough to live attacks. If I have Dynamax, good luck OHKOing me. So
Mm.
it's a different. So I preach that this is the best mod in No Max. I think it's one of the more interesting in Dynamax because it can do the offense for you, but it can also set up your offense. And that's a very interesting blend. I don't think it's quite on the Togekiss level, but what this mon does better than Togekiss is eat up attacks. And it eats them well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that Water Fairy is just like one of the better defensive types. You only have a couple of dangerous weaknesses.
And it's one of the best
Um,
offensive types, too.
yeah, it's good on that regard. Tapu Fini to me is interesting. I feel like out of most of the mons that have been picked up to this point, Tapu Fini is the most difficult to use. It is the least user friendly in terms of everything that's been picked so far. And there's a reason for that. I think, this mon has kind of sensory overload in a way that she just has so many moves
Mm-hmm.
and most of them look good every single week, but you only get 4 move slots every single week. So it can be it can be a little bit hard to like decide what kind of role you want Tapu Fini to build. But it's a difficult problem for players who like don't really who just like want mons that are easy to use, but it is a fantastic mon for coaches who are willing to like put in a little bit of, effort to figure out like how it's best suited for the matchup. I think it's a very interesting Pokemon because it's not very straightforward at all,
Yeah, no,
honestly.
there's no straight path to what to do with this mon. Like, you immediately think of the Calm Mind set because that's what a lot of people get terrorized by from prior series of VGC. But it's so much more than that. And whenever you accompany that, as well as having the bliss of not caring about getting paralyzed, put to sleep, burned, it brings a nice peaceful mindset when it comes to building that you don't have to worry about getting put to sleep by an Amoonguss or getting burned. So you can kind of build your team to be kind of better against or like in that direction because you have that safety. So I think it's interesting because it's the best Misty Surge, and Misty Surge is very underrated in draft, in my opinion. A lot of people
Yeah, I mean
don't
it's
realize the implications of stopping burn, sleep, paralyze, poison to less
oh
an extent, but
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, like Weezing Galar is not a real Pokemon. It doesn't quite count as being the other Misty Surge. So really, Finny is the only one that can just like come out onto the board, set up Misty terrain,
mm-hmm.
win a terrain war, and um win the terrain war or like win the terrain war for their coach, and also prevent that status like that. So she really is one of a kind at what she does. Um, and yeah, it's not straightforward to use this mod, but I think that's what'll make it so interesting to keep up with Dale's season,
Mm-hmm.
just to like see what kind of work he's gonna put into Tapu Fini and see what it's gonna do.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of my favorite mons, so I hope he does well with it.
Hmm.
All right, moving along, we have the number 12 pick, which I hate how the word 12th is spelled. I'm just going to say it. That F is so annoying to look at. I hate it so much. We did a discussion the other day. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, so
bad
this
word.
is Quick in the Dallas Duraludons taking back-to-back seasons in this league. He won a division in season 6 and in season 7. So he's looking to increase that seasons in a row victory to 3. And will he do that with this pick? Well, he picked a personal favorite mon of his and one that got voted down a tier by the people, not me. Primarina. Another water
Yeah,
fairy and a very different role though than the previous water fairy we looked at.
definitely. I think that the people and whoever was voting and for this pick, whether it was going to go up or down, whoever voted this thing down to B tier, if you did that, you are a fucking moron. I'm just gonna say it right here, right now.
He's after
You
you.
you made a grave mistake because this Pokemon is literally cracked. So on paper, it doesn't look like it has the best spread out stats. Mediocre HP, little below average defense, good special attack and good special defense, but also like weird speed tier too. Um, but man, this thing is fucking dangerous. You give this intimidate support, and it's just fine. 126 with what Spade said. It's a good offensive typing. Primarina has. Fairy and water. Not a lot resists that combination. So, um, and she's got good coverage as well, like max overgrowth for other bulky waters, um, max hailstorm if it's ever really needed. That's pretty much it. But I mean, yeah, she's just Primarina is so dangerous. It's
Mm-hmm.
got good bulk, and we haven't even talked about liquid voice yet. Um, Hyper voice getting the water typing, giving it stab boost, and just like making it a really strong, really consistent, really dangerous water type spread coverage move. Forget it.
Mm-hmm.
This mon is just ridiculous. It's so strong, and I think it's like the opposite of what Feeny does, where
Mm-hmm.
like Feeny is like complicated and not easy. I think this mon is very straightforward. You like let this thing click offensive buttons and it deals a shit ton of damage.
Now I have the third point in there because I want to see him do it. I want him to get a soundproof one, or like something with Storm Drain, so that he can use Liquid Voice Perish Song and his ally is not affected.
I think that's funny and all, but I think that the support move that she actually gets that's a little bit underrated is Aqua Jet. So Aqua Jet, ability,
Mm.
the ability to proc, policies on certain things. Um, Maybe I wouldn't recommend quick pick up a Colossal, but there are other mons that can appreciate having weakness policies procced by Aqua Jet. So I think that that's definitely something to keep an eye out on for too. I mean, Primarina is just yeah, she's dangerous. She's dangerous offensively, and I think that allowing this thing to have multiple A tier partners potentially was a huge fucking oversight on everyone who allowed it to happen. So, um, like I said earlier, you guys are stupid for letting this thing get voted down, and I will find each one of you who did that.
Oh no, we're all doomed. All right, well let's shade that with moving along. So we have Mr. Pro Horse himself, the first one to join the chat for this stream. He should throw his arm out, patting himself on the back for that. His Embor Nuggets enter, winning one of the very first seasons of the merger server. Actually, the very first season of the merger server, which is pretty cool to say that you were the first champion of one of those. And now you have the 13th overall pick, which we're in the second half, by the way. And with the 13th overall pick, he took the first C tier. I think it was C tier. Actually, don't quote me on that. I should probably double check that.
This mon is B tier, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, good. If it was C tier, we screwed up bad.
Oh, it's a B tier.
Okay, good. I almost whatever. He picked Charizard.
Yeah,
And
super interesting.
so yeah, Charizard. I think we've grown to know from Series 12 as it's kind of made a resurgence of that first bullet point I have there. G Max Wildfire. It's arguably the best variant of the G Max moves. You have the Wildfire, the Cannonade, the Vine Lash, and the what's Colossal's called?
Vocalith.
Vocalith, yes. So it has that. It has a 109 special attack stat with solar power, so it's an easy build with like, oh, I'll just put something that has Drought or Sunny Day. And then it becomes super strong. And with max Airstream, you go to town.
Yeah. So this mon, by the way, Pro Horse, good homie of mine. Very interesting first pick. Yeah, I think that G Max Wildfire is the best max move, the best G Max move in the whole game. I think it's better than the corny shit like Lapras's Aurora Veil and Kingler's Foam Burst. I genuinely think that Gmax Wildfire is the best one. Um, and the stats on paper don't really look impressive. It has slightly above or slightly below average HP, below average defense, slightly below average special defense, not even super high special attack or speed, but solar power in the sun makes this thing a different type of beast. You have stab hurricanes or like stab like hurricane airstreams in the sun, which are very strong, and then it gets a base 150 stab, sun boosted, solar power boosted, probably life orb boosted Gmax move that blows up whatever it hits. And since fire types are just so rare, every mon on your team is going to be taking that tick at the end of every single turn because fire types are not easy to come by in any format, any draft format. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, this was definitely an interesting pick, but I think that there's like a little bit of a vision here, and Charizard does something that no other fire type is capable of doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I like the pick. I like the pick, and I think that if this coach were to acquire some sun somewhere, um, Charizard becomes threatening. So
Yeah, and it's not like casual, like it's not like a slow threatening. It's immediate. It is in your face, and it's going to kill you. Uh,
yeah,
the coverage it gets is okay. It's got max ground, it's got max grass, it's got dragon, which is I think plenty. But you really only
hmm
need Gmax Wildfire. Even not very effective Gmax Wildfire in Sun is going to do more than most of your other moves anyway.
and you just think about the types that resist Charizard's Gmax Wildfire, and there's coverage for it. For other fire types, you get max Quack. For dragon types, you get max Dragon. For water types, you get max Overgrowth. Like you literally have the perfect coverage on the special end of the spectrum for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, realistically, like it's super good.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a very surprising pick, but when you dive into the details, it's an easy build around. It's in your face and proactive, and you really can't say anything bad about this pick. It's justified. It's
yeah,
really
I mean
good.
the one thing I will say is it's got some pretty glaring weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that Pro Horse will have to play around, um, with regards to like moves that this mon doesn't really like getting hit by electric. Obviously, the big thing it doesn't really like getting hit by rock coverage. So definitely we'll have to pay some extra minds to that. But I mean, I have a feeling that Pro Horse has some ideas for that. So. Um, yeah, interesting pick. And yeah, this kicks off the second half of our draft, so let's just keep getting right into it.
Mm-hmm. You'll let you continue it on the even ones.
Yep. So our next pick, 14th out of 24, we have uh Chad Doctor Bardo. I believe he's the doctor, right?
Yeah,
Bardo,
he's
I
the
believe that's
surgeon.
correct. Okay, yeah. So we got um Bardo here with a very cool logo, by the way. Doesn't make as much sense because Zapdos is a Thunderbird and not a
So
Phoenix,
that's
but
actually Phoenix Rising is a soccer team. He took
oh,
their
even
logo and
better.
put Zapdos on
Even better.
it.
He won himself a season 3 of the ADL, so it's a pre-merger championship. Still valid though. Um, yeah, and with the 14th pick, he got himself one of my personal favorites for every draft league format. Um, Thundurus Incarnate. Uh, I'll go ahead and start with this. I think that Thundurus is the most versatile Pokemon in draft league, the most in Dynamax format draft league. It is the most versatile Pokemon. Um, Super good speed, like 111 is very fast, and you have your physical defiant sets that you can run a plethora of different items on. You have your special prankster support sets that you can run different coverage on or different like items on. And you have special Dynamax Thundurus as well. I mean, this Mon does it all. It
Speed
can do
control, like just damage control, coverage moves aplenty.
Mm.
Like you have, because it's in Dynamax, you have physical fly, like a physical flying move, which is something that it didn't have in prior gens. Like, yeah, I'm with you as one of the better mons. It might be top three, I would say. I think Dragapult and Celesteela are still slightly above it, but Thundurus being that mon that says, all right, what does this team need? I'm here. Like, you're the
Yeah.
utility player of the team, and sometimes you are the main event. And when that main event is 111 speed with 125 and 115 in your special attack, oh boy.
Yeah. No, the guy just puts in a ton of work. And it's got surprising bulk too. I mean, the HP is mid, the defense is slightly below mid, and the special defense is slightly below mid. But the Mon itself has one of the best defensive typings and electric flying in the whole game. So it's actually quite difficult to hit this thing for super effective and hit it hard enough to kill it when it Dynamaxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Mon. It's a little bit challenging to EV sometimes, but other times it's just like, all right, I need to be faster than X thing, and then the rest goes into attack, and then we're gonna get big with them. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can just be as simple as that. So yeah, realistically, this is one of the this is one of my favorite Mons to use, and like I said, every format. It's a really really good Pokemon, and the only Mon that has Prankster Eerie Impulse, and that move is fucking annoying. That is a PP
That
move right
move is
there.
awesome. I
So
love that move. Yeah,
yeah, you
very
keep that in.
strong electric type, fitting for rising voltage. Although, does it even get rising voltage? I don't know.
It gets it, but it doesn't get the benefit
No, the
off of it.
benefit is if the target is grounded. I guess you're not getting the electric terrain buff from it, but like it's gonna be double power.
But yeah, it's gonna be a base 140 move, but you're not getting
Yeah,
the boost from the
unless you
terrain,
run
which is
Iron
what
Ball.
makes. Don't do that.
All right, moving right along, we have one of Zach's best logos he's created. Uh, to make this coach rename every single one of his teams to this. The Celadon City Jolteons by Mr. Odie himself, who has not one, not two, but three accolades to his name, which is quite intimidating to see when you see three of those champion marks. And it's even scarier when you see what he selected. And, damn it, why? There were 14 other people that could stop this, and we let this happen.
Nobody let it happen. We had some interesting
Why did we
picks.
not stop this? Who was supposed to warn us?
Well, everyone was warned when we did the draft
And
order.
I even put the interview out of like just this mon on it. How did we let this happen? So Urshifu Single Strike was part of all three of those championships that Odie has collected, and for very good reason. Basically you don't need to worry about the last point. I just needed a third point. You just need the first 2 points. It's got Wicked Blow and it's got Unseen Fist. You can't protect from it, and you can't even set up Iron Defense or Max Steel Spikes. It's going to crit you.
Yep.
And that's all I can say. It's just a super powerful mon, and especially in a coach who's used this thing a plethora of times. He knows the ins and outs. He's won with it in a max format, so he knows what to do with it there. And I got nothing else. Any other thoughts on Urshifu Single Strike?
Yeah, I really love this mon. I loved it in this format in particular. I loved using it. It is easily one of the best late game sweepers that you can ask for. And it's pretty hard to get mons like that. Like typically with your A tiers, you see, coaches who are picking up mons that are pretty versatile. Sometimes they're maxing, sometimes they're not. Urshifu is typically never that guy. Like you can max Urshifu, but more often than not, you're like losing value out of maxing Urshifu.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the late game, he can just come in and he's gonna punch the fuck out of you. Like you say, solid coverage. Like the solid coverage is actually important sometimes because, you know, if you fight against a fairy type, sometimes you might just need that Iron Head. Um,
Iron Head, Poison Jab. It also gets Elemental Punches, U-Turn, and Rock Slide.
yeah, it gets it also has an Airstream too, so you know, acrobatics for max chair
God.
stream.
This thing
Um,
just does too much. Like,
but the thing that it does best is either holds a choice band or holds a light or a focus sash and comes in the late game and fucking punches something and does a lot of damage. So it's 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 fucking dangerous. I won't front
yeah.
with you. The Mon is really dangerous, and yeah, I'm really pissed off at you guys for not taking this before it got to Odie. That's on you all if he beats the fuck out of you with it. So
All right, time to go Mono Fairy. Oh
yeah,
shit,
something like that.
I'm weak to this thing. I gotta fix that. All right. You can go ahead and introduce this one with the best looking logo in the uh, division, in my opinion.
Yeah, so another one of my personal rivals, we got Lady Lilac. She's you know singles win whatever. She's a total pushover. Um, just kidding.
just
No,
just push her over.
she's done quite well in most of the doubles formats she's participated in, and yeah, she got the 16th pick, and with the 16th pick, she saw that Urshifu got taken, and so she picked the other Urshifu.
This was, by the way, this was the easiest one of these slides to do. I just copied what was on Urshifu Single Strike and changed Wicked Blow to Surging Strikes. This was so easy to do. The same stat spread too. It was beautiful.
It's the exact same mon, realistically, except I would say in this format is a little bit of a different role than Urshifu single. I think Urshifu single has a little bit better of coverage with, you know, dark and fighting hits everything, right? Except for fairies. Water and fighting, sometimes you can get walled a little bit easier with that typing. It's decent offensively still, but neither of the Urshifus are all that good defensively. Um, but yeah, this thing its signature move is not quite as good as the other one, in my opinion. Way better in non-max, but in Dynamax, it's a little bit easier to get out of, you know, getting fucked up by this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Unseen Fist is still really fucking broken. And in my opinion, this Mon has a way better priority move than its Dark type counterpart. Because Aqua Jet is just a more consistent priority move than Sucker Punch is.
Yeah.
So
And Aquajet can also be for like the self-procking weakness policies too, which I think is, other than their typing, the main difference between the two is
yeah,
Urshifu can actually, support the ally if it needs, like, let's say you have a Colossal. Hey, look, weakness policy. And
right.
yeah, I've used Urshifu Rapid Strike in Series 9 before, and I very much like them on a lot. Having access to stab water on a physical attacker is really nice. There's very few of those.
True.
Poison Jab is a move I like running a lot on it, again, for that coverage. So actually, I see this as more of the coverage stuff compared to the Wicked Blow one. Wicked Blow does so much damage that it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Rapid Strike, Surging Strikes, it's still good, but it's not as good because a lot of people prep for it. You got your Rocky Helmet is a big one that people love to run against this thing.
Bringing fast sun is typically a way that this one
Yeah,
gets shut down
so there's a
too.
lot of ways to
So
shut this down. So how I learned to use it is, yeah, this is gonna be, if I need little bits and pieces at the end of the game, this can do that, and it's got the coverage to support it. So you don't really use it as your choice band Wicked Blow. I see it more as a, yeah, I'm gonna do bits and pieces of damage here and there, but it's bits and pieces big enough to where it's very much like noticeable and very much needed. So
the
I,
mon is still really good. Like
yeah,
obviously it can't. Water in general hits more than dark in general.
yeah.
Um, Getting rid of all the external factors aside. So I mean, the fact that you can't intimidate this thing's physical water type move is obviously it makes it very much threatening.
Yeah, and
So
there's like
um,
very few physical waters that are any good, and
yeah,
he's definitely the best one. So
yeah, very
very
true.
very solid pick. All right,
Agreed. Yeah, Urshifu's good.
all right. We have some coach next.
Yeah,
That coach
some
happens to be
guy.
right underneath the Cherish Ball Division logo on the left of the screen. Mr. Solanor, aka Chad, and his. Now, I hated trying to spell this 3 times. Shenandoah Sun Warriors.
Yep.
That's a. I really like how the name flows. By the way, it's just a nice like
Does.
flow name. Yeah,
I appreciate
you've
that.
3 accolades to your name too, so you're a threat now as well.
I guess you can say that.
Yeah,
If you tell
Pearl,
Pro Horse
Diamond,
that
and
though,
then
he'll get
repeat ball. Just
yeah. Don't tell Pro Horse that he'll get a little salty, but
uh, anyway, yeah, you had the
but
17th pick, which is I think we're at the picks now. We're at the where it's just like whatever. Like, oh, I'm 17th pick, cool.
right.
What's left?
Yeah,
What
like
can I take?
yeah, it's like it's essentially I just kind of looked at things that I thought were decent in the format. Um and I'm a big fan of having real redirection. I'm not a huge fan of Rage Powder as my primary redirection. Um but I love real redirection in the form of Follow Me. And in my opinion, I think that NDD female is without a doubt the best at the job of pure redirection. Um, just my personal opinion on
Yeah,
that
and
take.
what really makes Indeedee different than the other ones is that second bullet point. Psychic Surge means you cannot fake out or prankster taunt Indeedee.
Hmm.
And that alone, I think, makes Indeedee, like you said, the best follow me user in the game. Because how do you stop follow me trick room with Indeedee? It's impossible, other than in prison. But people are running
Yeah.
in prison then, and then you're laughing at them for running in prison.
Right.
And
No, I mean, yeah, she's good. She's good for that.
yeah, and
Go ahead.
to the great support stuff, Helping Hand, I think she gets at least one of the screens.
She gets both of
Mystical
them.
Fire is, in my opinion, a support move because it does minus special attack, which is a very good move, by the way.
Hmm.
Heal Pulse. What else did it get that I got? I should have prepared. To Safeguard is the other one.
Yep.
So it's extremely handy to set up whatever other monster you have next to it because it's going to
Hmm.
take the tax. It's going to Helping Hand. It can heal you up even. And if you want to flip a switch, you're on Psychic terrain with a busted move with 95 special attack. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's definitely the one that pioneered expanding force as a move because I mean, the move itself is just inherently broken. So great redirection support, but also a very dangerous offensive mon too. And while the HP and the defense are a little below average, there's like a lot to work with there in terms of EVs and item spreads. The special defense is also naturally good on its own. So not only that, but yeah, she's just like she's very versatile. You could realistically run the same item every week if you wanted to, or you could run different items every week. I mean, she just has that kind of versatility. So, and I also do agree with what you said about, having some decent offensive moves too. Like you have Mystical Fire, which is, fantastic for hitting steel types, and also lowering special attack. It's just yeah, expanding force on its own is dangerous, and
Yeah.
she has
Not
decent
to
special
mention
attack to
Shadow
go along
Ball,
with it.
Energy Ball, or Dazzling Gleam as well.
All right, let's not get too excited now.
I am excited. Indeed, a good mon. You made a great decision.
Yeah, I was super surprised to see that it had made it all the way down to here and 17th pick. So she's a mon where you could realistically build any style of team around her if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, and I really like that kind of versatility. Just because the inherent nature of being able to just set up anything, set up Trick Room, set up moves, set up a Dynamax mon has a lot to offer. So I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to use her for sure.
Have you used it before?
Not this mon, no, not in
Oh,
DD female.
nice.
So yes, it'll be my first time, but I've used it in real VGC before, and I've seen
Mm-hmm.
it used in draft, and you learn these things after a minute. So,
Yeah. Yeah, super
but
cool. I'm excited to see what you do with this mon is there's a lot of avenues for it, like you said. So let's save some more of the surprise for whenever you pilot the team fully.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Let's move
Well,
it along.
with our next pick, we have the Mid Atlantic Gallades, coached by Verte, and Verte was got their dub, got their chip before the merge of the server. Got APDL Grookey champ, and yeah, 18th pick again. It's kind of just like, all right, what's left style of picks, and with their first round pick, they picked Amon with arguably. Some people like to argue that it has the best Gmax move. I disagree personally because I think Charizard's is the best, but there is an argument to be made about this mon having the best Gmax move and this mon being dangerous in this format.
Yeah,
Lapras.
yeah. I think if Lapras didn't get a G-Max move, this one would be absolutely trash.
Yes,
But Sword and Shield brought it to life by giving it G-Max Resonance, which, for those that don't know, it's Aurora Veil, which if you don't know what Aurora Veil is, it's basically like Reflect and Light Screen baked into one, although it's a little bit weaker. But it's still both, which is amazing. Usually you have to have Hail to set it up, and this one's like, nope, just give me an Ice move and make me big.
yep.
And you see my first bullet point. I mention it every time because I think that this is the best. Like, if you take away anything from this, draft bulky water types. There is a common trend of bulky water types performing very well in draft. And it doesn't go down, it goes up. And it goes up high.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lapras is definitely it's an interesting pick for a bulky water, that's for sure. But I think that it's a good it's an interesting mon. I don't personally love it, but there are definitely some very dangerous and valid points that I've heard used in order to defend it. So,
I
um,
think the biggest issue is that 85 special attack stat on a mon that you want to Dynamax. It's almost
yeah,
asking for you to put a weakness policy on it for that reason.
agree.
So I think that is like kind of my biggest gripe about Lapras. But other than that, Water Ice is a really cool typing.
Hmm.
Uh, the ability it has allows it to not be crit, which is
That's
another
a good
peace of
one.
mind thing. Whenever you don't have to worry about it, so that's great. Its attack and special attack are equal, so you can do whatever you want with this thing. I've even seen people Dragon Dance with it. So there's
Yeah,
a lot of avenues and potential for Lapras, but it's not one of those mons that is straightforwardly good. It really needs support and really needs help. And if you have that,
yeah.
this mon is an absolute monster. But it's not a monster
I
on its
think
own. That's where I have at least some concern with it. But I can't be mad at seeing a mon with one of the better, not the best, but one of the better Gmax moves taking this early.
yeah, I agree with you there. I think that you have more interesting coverage when you run physical Lapras, like you get
Mm-hmm.
Max Quack, Max Steel. Um, but the special coverage is a little more straightforward. Typically, you'll see like an ice move, probably a water move, an electric move sometimes. Um, but it has one of the best ice moves in the game in the form of freeze dry. So freeze dry is a really powerful ice move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that, I think that it's interesting in that regard. I think that it doesn't quite fill the role of being your traditional bulky water type nearly as much as some of the other mons do. But when you're Dynamaxed, it has kind of the same idea as when you Dynamax Celesteela, where if you don't know this thing doesn't have the weakness policy, if you're like unsure of what its item is, then you can't hit it for super effective.
Yeah,
Because if you hit
130
it,
HP in your Dynamaxing is it's a lot.
special defense is also like above average and it has average physical defense. So I mean like it's good. It's good in that regard, and you don't want to fuck up and hit it with for a super effective move, proc its policy, and have it just blast away something while setting up an Aurora Veil. So
Mm-hmm. And then it's even harder to
yeah,
kill.
yeah, I mean, it's a good mod, but I think it needs a well-built team and it needs the coach to like give it some serious attention and prep.
Mm-hmm.
when building the mon. So yeah, I'm curious to see how many times, how many different ways this mon is going to get used because it is interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move it right along here. We have the 19th overall pick by Lucian Flash and his Rebellion, and he's been here since season 2 from one of the merger servers, and it took him to season 6 to finally take a name and win a championship here. Really incredible to see him stick with it and actually grab a championship here to be able to compete in this event.
Yeah.
And he took advantage of that by one of the most questionable decisions that we've made, but I have no. So he picked Dragonite, and when I say we picked Dragonite, we moved this to C tier.
Y'all are idiots for allowing
Well,
that to happen too, by the way.
here's the thing. So we look at this, and these stats are fantastic. You know, it's got good moves, whatever. But what I've learned from using, because I used Zygarde before in a format, and a lot of people thought Zygarde shouldn't have been in that format. What I learned is, though, having a 4x weakness to ice is a major problem. So I think that balances itself out. But at the same time, this one is really good. Like, it's got really good potential, and nobody uses it. I don't think I've seen this mon picked in a Series 9 draft before. So this is the first time that I'll at least see it.
This mon doesn't have a 4-time weakness to shit because it has multi-scale. So realistically, like it's not. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Spades.
I wasn't talking.
Okay, my bad. I thought you were trying to say something. Like I got a little bit of a
Oh,
fuzzy thing
I
from
wasn't
you.
talking.
Anyway, yeah, you say inner focus, but this thing has some of the most broke. It has two of the most broken abilities in the
Mm-hmm.
game. Multi-scale, because it eliminates every weakness that you have, and inner focus because it keeps you from being flinched, so you get to set up D dance for free, and you also can't be intimidated when you run its base 134 physical attack. Like, nah, whichever one of you bozos voted this thing down to C tier, you're all wrong. I'm pissed off that Lucian got it because, of course, he would find the extreme value like that. So, yeah, I mean, good for him. And yeah, this thing has good physical coverage, has really good special coverage too. Like, it's a really really dangerous mon. And I mean, you look at it, it's like 80 base speed, it's kind of mid, but then you hit one airstream and then you're faster than everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like one stab airstream too, might I add. Um, and yeah, this is just fantastic stat spreads. This mon is really good, and yeah, pseudo legendaries should not be in C tier. This mon is even good. This mon was even good in the Series 9 when it existed. So I can imagine it'll be better in the draft format too. So
Yeah, questionable decision to move it down, but regardless, we'll see what it does. Maybe it takes over and it was a huge mistake. Maybe it's a huge blunder, or it's not a huge blunder. It's really bad. We don't know. I think it's going to be extremely powerful. So there's
mm-hmm.
that. But time will tell. A lot of people didn't like this in prior drafts, so we'll see how it goes in here.
Agree.
Let's move it right along.
Yeah, so next up we have our third and I believe final of the three coaches that have three chips that are competing in this season of Cherish. Um, yeah, it has an APDL win, RPDL win, another APDL win. It's JPI or JP. I don't remember how it's pronounced. Um, but yeah, they have 3 dubs. All 3 dubs coming before the merger. So yeah, coming back around for a season of nothing but champions. Very excited to see such a storied legacy coach make
Mm-hmm.
the return. And with the 20th overall pick, they acquired a personal snipe from me, which was Blastoise.
Not just you. I wanted it too.
Yeah, this mon, although the running meme is that this mon never got me, which is very true. This mon don't got me, but it's had so many other coaches that I've like have known and played against and competed against, this is like the pinnacle of being a support bulky water Pokemon. This is the support bulky water Pokemon that can basically do it all. Um, when you say bulky water, it does a supremely good job of that in that first point, and you say solid support, it does a supremely good job of that in that fourth or in that third point as well. I mean, it's just arguably this mon is the best at what it does with being a bulky support. Um, and yeah, Cannonade is broken as well. So like,
Yeah, it's that support mon, but it's not afraid to flip the switch and say, I'm going to max. And something that I learned playing this in Series 12 is you can be the helping hand, fake out Icy Wind support stuff and just have Hydro Cannon and
yeah,
max and use Hydro Cannon because unlike Lapras's, Gmax Cannonade is threatening and it is
yeah.
immediate pressure. It's not going to be as much damage as like Charizard would do, but it's enough where it's noticeable and can really set up mons in the back that are a lot faster. So,
Oh, definitely. I mean, yeah, this mon, not to mention that it can be set up offense in the form of Shell Smash. I mean, it definitely has that role going for it too. Where with some proper support, it could set up a Shell Smash, and excuse me, then all of a sudden it has some pretty powerful offense and speed you looking at there. But yeah, I mean, this thing has it all: Fake Out, Yawn, Icy Wind, Haze, Mist. Um, it just like does pretty much everything you can ask for out of a bulky water, and then takes that next step beyond by having one of the best Gmax moves as well.
mm-hmm.
So I love Blastoise. I think Blastoise is fucking fantastic. I really would have liked to have gotten it, but I'm excited to see what JP is gonna do with it because I mean it's that guy. It does so much. So
Yeah, definitely. And it's a mon that I think a lot of people had on their board and didn't think it would go this early because it does all those things. And JP's like, yeah, I'll take it and make you
yeah,
all sad because you chose something else.
pretty much exactly what happened. But yeah, so
Yeah,
excellent
very
pick from
excellent.
them.
Next up,
And
the Scuba Squirtles and Mr. Niels, who was our Pokeball champion the first season of the SCDA. Very impressive. He got the 21st overall pick, and he picked a very interesting mon, Tornadus Eye, the brother to Thunderous Eye, which has a little different role as far as what it does compared to Thunderous, but
mm,
pure flying type is so unique. I think only Rookity and Corvusquire have it, which
yes,
are two mons that you should not be mentioning in a draft at all. So, yeah, what makes this mon different from Thunderous is, I would say, the lack of the electric stab, but other than that, Prankster Tailwind. This is the first thing you think of when you hear Tornadus. You think, oh, he's got Prankster Tailwind. But when you look into what Tornadus really is, he's got similar qualities to Thunderous. He's got Defiant, he's got great special attack and attack, a high speed stat, and he's got good coverage. Like, you can't
hmm
beat Max Flare or Max Darkness. And not to mention Stab Max Flying, which he still has access to on both physical and special sets. So, this mon does so much for a team. It's up there with Thunderous. All it's missing compared to Thunderous is that Stab Electric. But what it gains is something that your team can better take advantage of.
yeah, you see this all the time in these series 9/7 drafts where a team will draft Tornadus and then they'll draft a handful of mons with Tornadus, and Tornadus actually ends up being the best Dynamax option on these teams. I harped on it with like a lot of different power rankings that I've done in the past with this mon. I think it's really easy to fall into a trap of drafting Tornadus and then drafting a whole bunch of mons with it that can't max because this thing is just better at maxing. It has max Steel Spike, max Airstream, max Dark, max Flare, like you mentioned, max Overgrowth. It's got a lot of really good options. And just like having the natural high speed stat, and being only one type is nice because you don't have very many weaknesses as a pure flying type. So yeah, I hope that this coach will be able to draft another dangerous max option with Tornadus, because the best part about Tornadus is its versatility within its set while being able to do both. Because
Mm-hmm.
realistically, like Tornadus, you could run Tailwind, Icy Wind, Heat Wave, and Hurricane, and then you can support the team with Tailwind, or you can Dynamax and max Chair Stream things and max Hailstorm stuff, um, max Flare things. It really is that guy. And this was
Mm-hmm.
another personal snipe for me as well. This is a mon I was really looking into because Tornadus is just he's just that good. He's very very good, very versatile, very dangerous Pokemon. So I would really love to see Niels draft a good team around it.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think he's more than proved that he can do that. So
Definitely.
I'm curious to see if
Um,
he does take the advice of saying this is the max option. Like, because a lot of times you fall into the trap you said of going Tailwind plus my partner. Sometimes you can
mhm.
skip that part and just go max Airstream and then attack with your partner. That usually
Right.
does it, but now it's more proactive and more threatening.
Yeah, for
So
sure. I see that. I hear that, and I want to see this Pokemon succeed because realistically, this is one of the most fun Pokemon to watch if used correctly.
hmm
So,
yeah,
um,
it's super good. Very good pick.
yeah. With our 21st pick, or 22nd pick rather, we have the Hamilton Thundercats, coached by Chad Dentist Twin. I learned about Twins championship run by interviewing him, which that will be posted this evening. Look forward to that. Um, but yeah, he won a season of luxury, which is cool, little bit different. Um, a little bit of a different drafting style and different format, but still proving to be a competent coach in other seasons of VGC. I really love their logo as well.
It's nice and
Think that's
clean.
very sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very sleek. And he picked uh what is one of my least favorite Pokemon to play against of all time, um, Venusaur. I don't love Venusaur playing against it. For the coach, it's a very user-friendly Pokemon 75% of the time.
So yeah, I don't have chat open, but if Pro Horse is still here, he's probably going off
Yeah, definitely.
because yeah, Venusaur was something that he wanted and it was gone by Twins' hands, and yeah, Venusaur plus any Sunmon is, I would say, one of the more proven archetypes in Series 9 draft. And
Mhm.
it goes without saying, I want to highlight the third point again because we talked about it with Charizard and Blastoise, which, by the way, all of those, like that trio, all went in the first round,
Not surprising.
which is actually quite amazing to think about. That the G-Max move and, well, I guess the other utility the Mons have are that strong and powerful that coaches are interested in that type of what's the word I'm looking for, like aspect for their teams. Venusaur
Mhm.
does it a little differently by being double speed in Sun and has sleep powder, and the other sport that I really can recall is Helping Hand.
Yeah, it has some weird things that it can do. You can theoretically uh, sweet scent for other mons. You can sweet scent for um, moves that aren't quite as accurate. And this mon has the unique ability to use fast pedal blizzard, um, which is interesting because you can proc policies or what's the ability sap sipper with pedal blizzard. So
Or is that Pedal Dance?
it's pedal blizzard. Trust the spread. It's the spread move. It's the spread move.
Yeah, I thought that was. I'm probably wrong.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's got really underrated bulk too. Like 100 is average HP, 83 is like slightly above average defense, 100 is considered to be good special defense, and I mean 80 is just like a speed defining speed tier when it comes to weather mons, because nothing can outspeed nothing naturally can outspeed a max speed Venusaur, not even like Regieleki. So that's pretty, it's a speed defining tier. And I mean, um, the special attack being 100 is okay, but it has really strong moves. It has um, ways to check the things it's weak to, except for flying types. It can't really check flying types super easily, which is like its biggest weakness as a Pokemon. But then you just put them to sleep with Sweet Powder and call it a day and move on.
Yeah,
um,
and the addition of Weather Ball that people started playing on Venusaur such a huge role for that, and being basically a Dynamax threat. Like you draft Venusaur to be your Dynamax threat. The Sleep Powder's okay, but you want the G-Max Vine Lash, and the fact that it actually has good like Dynamax moves, like Stab Max Poison, is not nothing. You give a Torkoal
mhm.
or a Ninetales a special attack boost, and that's a-okay. Or you give
Everyone's
them
saying,
a special defense boost by Max Quake. Also
yeah.
a-okay. So very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's saying Scarfalucky. You guys think I don't know about Scarfalucky? I pioneered Scarfalucky, okay? Chill out with that garbage. Come on now. Um, but yeah, back to Gmax Vinelash. I mean, it's the same idea with Charizard, where Gmax Wildfire, good fire types are rare.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a lot of mons are getting ticked by Wildfire. It's the same thing with Vinelash. Like there
I
are
was gonna
not
say
that
grass has
many.
very few good grass types.
Exactly. There's not many good grass types. There are a lot of mons that are getting fucking ticked by this thing um, every turn because of the Vine Lash. So Venusaur's, it's an interesting mon, and I hate playing against it. So Twin, don't play me. Nothing else to
Very,
say.
very good and interesting. Yeah, just don't play against me. That would be best.
Very true. So round one Venusaur, yeah, all the Kanto starters got picked round one. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Um, this is it's your
Oh,
turn.
it's my
This is
turn.
you.
Yeah. So this is an MVA member who got recruited solely because he was winning divisions, and Mav wanted to feel good about his own org. So he picked up somebody who wins divisions and who basically has 90% of the trophy case at this point. This is a Panda wannabe, Panda Baltimore Pangorials. If you're anywhere near like this server or like guess servers outside, you've heard of who this person is because he's winning a lot. He's won 2 divisions here back to back, no surprise. And actually, I think those were 2 of the tougher divisions here too. Like season 6 and 7 Premier Ball were very difficult, and
Especially season six. Season six was some of
yeah,
the toughest VGC that the SCDA has ever seen.
yeah. And then
And
season 7 was no slouch either, and he's like, yeah, easy.
yeah,
And speaking of
casual.
easy, he picked a very, very good mod, and one I had a hard time finding notes for because it's Moltres Galar. And the first thing you think of when you think Moltres Galar is
Uh, Dynamax. That's what I think of.
that goes to my point of it's hard to think of what exactly this mon does. It can be
Yeah.
a policy abuser. It can be a bulkier set with Nasty Plot. It can be Life Orb and just max Airstream Go. And Dark Flying is a pretty good offensive type. You hit a lot of things, and you resist a lot of things. You have Snarl, you have Sucker Punch, you have a stat spread that is very specially defensive. Speed of 90, which is pretty great, actually.
Yeah,
All in
not bad
all,
at all.
just a little bit more special attack this mon would be busted. 100 special
Yeah.
attack, it's still good as is.
Yeah, no. I think that this mon falls under the title of don't hit this
Oh
thing with
shit!
super
I didn't
effective
change. It
moves.
says drafted mon still. That's
Oh, it's
funny.
fine.
I made one error in my spreadsheet. We're fine, or my slides. Oh well.
Yeah. No, you're good. Um, yeah, I think this is another one of those mons that don't you fucking dare hit this thing with a super effective move while it's Dynamaxed. Because you do that, and then it hits you with you give it the +2, it hits you with a max airstream, and you lose the game off of a play like that. So it really is like this mon is incredibly easy to support. Um, just because, like you said, if it's good speed, it's good type. Um, not good coverage really. Like you basically are limited to dark moves and flying moves, but those moves are fantastic, especially for special attacking variants of this mon. So, yeah, I mean, 90 HP is above average, 90 defense is above average, and 125 is incredibly bulky. So, it does not take a whole lot to make this mon work. And like you said, it is incredibly user friendly. And giving a coach as good as Panda is, a mon as user friendly as this is, while still being as competent as it is, that's a pretty dangerous idea, that's for sure.
Yeah, I expect him to cause a lot of havoc with this variant of the Kanto bird.
Yeah.
Man,
Very
that
true.
Kanto bird got a huge buff.
It needed it. It needed it real bad.
All right, well, we'll move on. We can introduce our last pick.
Yeah, so the New Orleans Ninetales with one of my favorite logos. I love the
It's
Pokemon that it's
quite
based
quite
off of.
nice.
And yeah, coached by Tiger VGC, who just just won a championship in order to get into this division. So won season 7 of Pokeball and made his way here. And with the very last wheel pick, made a pick that a lot of people gave him some slack for, but realistically is one of the best Pokemon at its job, and that is Gastrodon. So realistically, Gastrodon is easily the best Storm Drain mon, and in my opinion, is the best water ground type. Um, and so they were able to really pick up a mon that is the absolute best what it like what it does.
Yeah, and it's a very easy it's the best Storm Draymond. You said it. You hit the nail on the head. The best water ground type. You hit the nail on the head. Like he picked straight value at wheel, which I can't argue with that. That's a very very great strategy that he picked such a value mon. Like a lot of people are giving him shit for saying like, oh well, wheel pick you can pick synergy. It's like, or you can just pick good mons, and he did. He picked two solid mons. And the one he wanted us to highlight, because I let him choose, was Gastrodon. And I think Gastrodon is, again, one of those bulky water types that can help support your other members, especially when you want to build a team with like a really strong fire type, which he happened to get next. So it was really good of him to go with Gastrodon for that setting up, because again, he technically did pick up a pair. He picked up a fire type and a Storm Drain mon.
Oh, my apologies. Hold on. This person in the server has she her pronouns. My
Uh,
apologies. I do not know you. So that's on us. My bad for that. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you made a good pick. Like this is the best mon at what it does. And you pair that with its ability to actually Dynamax as well. Like
mm-hmm.
this is like 92 is not the worst or not like the best stats for a Maxmon, but give it a Storm Drain boost. That's a free +1 that you can get, and like you have Max Quack and Max Geyser, and there's not a whole lot of mons that resist that dual coverage. So, um, yeah, I think that this is a good pick, and it actually pairs quite nicely with the mon that they drafted next,
Mm-hmm.
which we unfortunately can't really talk about that
Well, that will be talked
right now.
about the second of these draft streams.
Hmm?
The mon that they picked after we talked about in the second one of the draft streams. But yeah, I think Gastrodon is what you said, the best at its job, Dynamax threat, as well as having Yawn, Acid Armor, Recover, just to be a dick. I think of these things. And with
Yeah,
that will conclude the first round. If we take a look at this beautiful graphic done by yours truly of the recap of the picks, I will just let my co-host say what surprised you, what didn't surprise you, what stands out to you about this order for the picks.
man, again, like I said, every single one of you motherfuckers who put Dragonite in C tier, put Primarina in B tier, y'all have personal vengeance from me coming in a serious that's for sure. Um, but yeah, I'm actually very excited to see, how most of these players are going to use their mons. I think that there are some really complicated mons uh that got picked, and I'm excited to see coaches as competent as the ones that we have um in this division use these mons. Like there are mons that got picked here. I could literally like name off the potential of every single one of these Pokemon that got picked by these coaches. See how they've been failed by other coaches in the past. And, I really, really do just want to see like a high level of competition for this division. So
Hmm.
realistically, I'm excited to see how, most of these coaches use their Pokemon.
Yeah, all these picks are justified. I think you can't look at any one pick and say that was a bad pick.
No, no
All
bad
these
picks.
people are experienced in draft. They know their
Yeah.
shit. They know what they're doing. So looking at this board of this is what went in the first round should not surprise anybody that this is going to be tough. I think every one of
Oh,
these
it's a
coaches.
little. It's a little questionable whether Pro Horse knows what he's doing or not, but I'll give you the
So
pass.
he knew what he was doing until he got sniped, because he had this plan and he thought that Venusaur would come back to him.
I'm just giving him some shit. It's funny to mess with him.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
But yeah, I think that the fact that so many people got sniped in the later rounds or like in the later picks of the round, um, I think that it just goes to show that people made good picks. And yeah, there's a lot of really like this draft has progressed a little bit, and um, I'm excited to see like what the next batch of mons that will be picked are. And I think that a lot of these teams will have a much um, stronger identity,
mm,
and we'll be able to identify their teams a little bit more once we get to that halfway point in the draft where we'll make
yeah,
our second of the two recap video or second of the three recap
yes.
videos.
Yeah,
But
this is just your first impression stuff, and I think I like what I see.
I agree with that 100%.
Wish
So
Celesteela fell 2 more spots, but we're okay.
indeed, I wish Celestial would have fallen. I'm not doing that math, but I wish it would have fallen to me at 17th pick. Y'all should have let that happen for me. But this isn't my stream, so I'll let you do
Yeah.
the sign off here.
So thank you all for taking time out of your day to enjoy this special project to me, the Cherish Ball Championship Division. It was a lot of fun actually putting this whole presentation together. I will never do it again because that took so damn long. But regardless, I had an absolute blast talking about these first round picks and how like they're set up. You don't actually hear like when you hear like drafts power rankings, you never see the first round pick and then even halfway through. And I think
Mm,
analyzing that can be a very important tool for, I guess, newer players and just a nice avenue for just talking about the teams because that's an interesting part. The most interesting part to people is the draft.
yeah.
And I think showing more of the draft is something people are interested in seeing. And first round is always hype. Like, I was thinking about putting on the NFL music whenever they make picks. I decided against that. But
Good call.
But like the draft is exciting. I'm excited to be a part of it. I know Solinor is excited to be a part of it. And I want the people like watching the division to say like these are the best players here and we get to see how they draft and what they're going for and we just get to pick who we want to root for. So I think it makes sense in that regard and I hope that I set a standard for other divisions and leagues because this is cool as shit putting this stuff together. And I'm excited for the mid-draft one, which we'll be doing sometime next week, depending on how fast this goes.
True. Well, yeah, not my stream, so I'm not going to sign off, but I had a blast doing it.
I miss not having to do that. It was so nice when you got to do the closing stuff.
I got good at it. That's the difference. I learned how to
My
do
my,
it.
my closing is like I say myself, I say you, then I say we're out. So I guess I'll just do that.
Well, give it a second. Give a second for the end of stream to catch up first. That way you don't cut your recording off. But
Oh.
yeah.
Well, I'll cut
Now
the
you have to sit.
recording and then we'll go back to stream. But so anyway, for the recording, the people who watched on YouTube who couldn't make it live, we'll be updating when the second one of these will be up. We'll figure that out as we go. Hopefully, Solanor is able to join me again. Maybe we get a third ? Exclamation point.
Maybe if you have interest, let one of us know.
Yeah, so my trademarked closing. I am the host Spades, my co-host Solanor, and we are out.